Welcome to Computer Retro Bus. In this episode, we're going back to the year 1998 when I built my very first computer. And you know, I was the young student that was cash strapped, so I had to make compromises. But what would I have loved to have built if money were no object? Stick around and we're going to build the dream system I would have loved to have had. In 98, I'd graduated from high school and I was studying computer systems in college with some friends. And one of my great friends, Matt, actually helped me build my first system. I'd never done it before. And what I built was a Celeron 300A, because that's what everyone was building, with 64 meg of RAM and an Intel i7-40. I think I still had my Voodoo card, but the i7-40 was slightly better. So, you know, not the best system that you could have at the time, but it was a good middle ground. Today, we're going to build what I would have loved to have had. You know, 98 was such an awesome year for computing. So much exciting things were happening. You had StarCraft come out, Unreal, Half-Life, Windows 98. The hardware was advancing, the games were advancing. It was just an awesome time to be in computing. Okay, so let's have a look at what parts we have here. We're starting off with the base. This is an ASUS P2B-S. Great motherboard. It's actually got built-in SCSI as well. The motherboard I had back then was an 8-bit, which was a great motherboard as well. If you wanted to overclock, you had to get a good motherboard. So, you know, you could not cut costs on motherboards. Looking at the motherboard specs, so I've got 4 RAM slots. How cool is that? A lot of them were 3 RAM slots back in the day, standard. SCSI, pretty awesome. IDE, primary, secondary, floppy disk. And then, you know, the regular assortment of slots that you expect. So AGP, PCI, and ISA. So this is so good. So versatile. You can use ISA sound cards. You know, you can put your Sound Blaster AWE64 Gold in if you want, or your Sound Blaster Live. You can use this from DOS all the way to Windows XP. You know, really, really flexible platform, and that's why I love the Pentium II, Pentium 3. For the processor, I'm going a Pentium II 450. This was the king of the processors back then. You know, this was very expensive, unobtainium. RAM, I've got 128 here. I had 64 back in the day. I'm gonna see if I can try and find some more and go up to 256. You know, just go nuts. Video card. Now, appropriate correct would be the TNT. But I don't have a TNT, unfortunately. I do have a TNT2 M64, which pretty much performs like a Riva TNT. So I'm gonna go with that. For hard drive, I've got a 40 gig here. I'm not sure how I'm gonna go with this because I'm not sure if this motherboard is gonna recognize higher than 32 gigabyte hard drives. So I'll see how I go with this. This one's a bit questionable. If not, I may have to change that around and find an alternative. For a case, we are using this bad boy. This was a black case that I converted to beige because, you know, beige is the best. Now, I don't have an I/O shield. Those are always missing whenever you get them. So what I'm going to do is use my 3D printer and print one out. Let's see how we go. Let's have a look, see how it's going to fit. So it turned out not too bad. So look at that. Perfect. That looks great. So there you go, guys. If you're missing I/O shields, look up some models online, download them. The Intel BX one is pretty common. After it does get, the Pentium 4 stuff does get a bit more tricky because, you know, you have all different configurations with sound. Some have 3, some have 6 channels, some have LAN, some have dual LAN, all sorts of stuff. But this era stuff is pretty standard. So I really love this case. I've been looking forward to getting something into it, you know, something worthy of it. So yes, I did convert this to beige, but what I did with this one is I painted the inside a beautiful ruby red color. So give it a nice two-tone action. Okay, let's see if I can manage to get this in without snapping it. Not too bad. Yep, there, oh, that's better. Okay, looking good. So that's in. Now let's get the rest of the motherboard in there. Okay, so first things first, you need to get these standoffs in. Okay, here we are. Gotta love this motherboard. Okay, so let's get our RAM in. So I've got my video card in there and I'm going to put in a Sound Blaster Live and then get that power supply in there also. Okay, I got everything plugged in. Let's have a look. Let's get that first boot going. Okay, it's not good. No, I haven't plugged the... No, none of the buttons working. No signs of life, so let's have a look what's going on. All right. Okay. This really sucks because I've just lost another slot 1 motherboard, and this is a great board, and it's just nothing, won't power on, nothing turns on anymore. I've tried changing the CPU, changing the RAM, changing everything. But I think I've finally realized what the culprit is, which really irritates me because I've lost, I think, 3 motherboards to this now, and it is this goddamn video card. You know, it's one of those ones that has the dual slotted, so it does 2 different voltages, but it's because it's killed a different slot 1 motherboard on me also, and I didn't realize it was this. I thought, oh, maybe, you know, it's just the motherboard, it's age, it's gone, but it's done it again. So this is the common denominator. I got this in a Pentium II system, which was dead. And you know what? Same thing, it just will not power on, no signs of life whatsoever. And I tried it on a different gigabyte motherboard. I was building a system up and I plugged this in and it stopped working. I thought it was different components, but I've realized this, I think most likely it's got to be this. And this is the thing, these, and I've looked it up, these TNT2 M64 cards have got a reputation of doing this because they do multiple voltages in AGP. And this can happen. And unfortunately, this card has murdered 3 motherboards on me now, which is extremely frustrating. You know, slot 1 motherboards aren't easy to find. So really, really upset about that. I'm gonna have a look. I've been having a chat with one of my mates online, Andy. He suggested to check the fuses, so I'm gonna get a multimeter and check the fuses to see if it is that motherboards do have built-in fuses. If it is them, we might be able to get them back, but otherwise it's just not looking good. This is not the video I planned to make. I started it off very cheerful and excited, but you know, this is what happens with old hardware. And I guess it just goes to show, you know, newer PCI, you know, the hardware just got better and standardized and generally improved. Some of this older stuff, moving between standards and voltages, you know, you got RAM voltages, AGP voltages, and things could just go wrong, which is what has happened here. So, so this really sucks. Thank you for watching. If you want to support my channel, help me buy new hardware. I've got a link in the description. I do appreciate anybody that does. You know, you know what? I just really want to just stop this video and just cancel it and do something else completely different. But the fact is, you know, I think it would be dishonest to not show when things go wrong also. And in this hobby, they do go wrong often. A lot of times I just cancel the video and do something else. But this time I thought, nah, you know, this can happen. And I guess it's better to make you guys aware that these things can happen. Just be careful with AGP cards, different voltages that they use, the slots, all that sort of stuff, so you don't end up like I do. So, you know, this is the motherboard that it came with. Great little Pentium III motherboard. And when I got this, that card was in it and it just wouldn't boot up. Same as what's happening to this one now, just no power, nothing. You know, I'm just so frustrated with myself, to be honest, because this is a great board that I lost, and there's another gigabyte slot 1 that I plugged it in, killed that one as well. I'm just frustrated that it took me so long to probably realize what the problem was, you know. It took 3 dead boards. So, yeah. So I'm gonna end it there. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you in the next one. Bye-bye.